Okay, guys, so back again for our comprehension lesson this time. You've already done the expression one, you've done things in order. If not, it's okay. But there we are, comprehension lesson number 2. Today, talking about understanding a broad range of vocab. If you actually have the book at home and you're following from the book, you'll see that I am not following the order of the book. It's simple. I just think that this unit is a lot more important as a starter, because what we often lack when we're doing listening, reading, comprehension in general is the vocab. So there is one word that you're lacking and then the rest suddenly becomes complicated, especially in the listening. You don't know a word and then you focus on that word, and then the time for you to think about it, then the recording's already done. You already finished, and next question, and then that's it, blank. So that is why I am starting with understanding a broad range of vocab, and then we move on later to the other units. So why is it important? I've already told you. It's very frustrating to try and understand your text and there's a word you don't understand, and it's a keyword, you know, and you're like, then you can't answer your question because you just don't understand that keyword. So first thing first, we'll learn to recognize and understand synonyms. You already know that word because I've been talking to you about synonyms for 2 weeks already, and you're already quite tired of it. But there we are. There's actually a reason why I do what I do in that order. Second thing, we're going to talk about expanding, I prefer that word, expanding your vocabulary in French, and then using the context to help you with words that you don't know. So starting with this straight away is just really, really, really important. Once you are more comfortable with your vocab, then you'll be able to focus on other things like the shades, the little tricks, like whether it's positive or not. But first, you need to understand the key vocab. If you don't understand the key vocab, the fact that it's positive, negative, or both is just going to go here because you don't even understand the vocab in the first place. That's really important. Of course, this unit is not going to teach you the vocab. It works hand in hand with actually learning the vocab. So that's really important. You keep learning your vocab. And I'm not saying this just because I want to be annoying or because I want to advertise your supposed to be daily exercise on vocab and listening, but it is really important you do it. You're trying to reprogram your brain, guys. It takes a lot of time and effort. And even though it's not that much time a day, you still need to be able to think about it every day if you actually want to make progress. So reading, listening is more important, and learning your vocab every day is really key and is going to go hand in hand with this unit. So yes, first thing first, I'll just, as usual, let you do the get started question. I'll just share my screen. Get started question. Please don't do the exam style questions. You know how it works. You have the opportunity to do it at the end. If you want to, just answer the questions that they're asking you. Follow exactly what they're telling you, and then you'll be able to probably do all the rest later. So get started. Shouldn't take you that long. And I'll catch you up for page number 2 when you've posed and done this double page. See you soon. And if you're back for my little lesson, we are moving on to the first page. So how to recognize and understand synonyms. So here on this page, they give you a lot of different tips and tricks. I want to say this is just the reason of your vocab tree. I'm going to say again because this is so important. This is the reason of your vocab tree. So if you haven't done any of your vocab tree because you thought it was useless, now think again, because synonyms are actually going to be at the heart of your learning. So make sure you're actually doing that. Try to think about synonyms by meaning and by same type of words at first. So different nouns, for example. Let's say, let's think about I don't have an example in my mind. Let's take verbs, for example. Last time we talked about verbs for communication, right? Different synonyms of communication in the verbs. You have parler, which is to talk, dire, which is to speak, or to say, sorry, is to say, communiquer, which is communicate, chatter, which is to chat. All these verbs, they're still verbs in terms of like type of words, but they are synonyms in meanings. So they're the same type of verbs and the same meanings. So that's the first thing you should be able to do, is to really try and sort the synonyms in your head by meaning and by type of word, and using the context to understand what meaning you're talking about, what synonyms you're talking about. So that's on my page 2. There's not much for me to say because I've already talked about synonyms so much, and it's just basic practice now. So I just let you practice this page 12, and then I'm waiting for you to tell me whether or not your vocab tree and your synonyms are useful when you do your exam. So I'll let you pause page 2 and then coming back to me for page 13 in a minute. Right, there we are. So page 13, just trying to move my face. There we are. Okay. So how do we broaden our vocabulary? So here you can open, once you've actually thought about your synonyms in the same type of word, you can open up your vocab tree to different type of verbs. So you have all the synonyms for communicating, verbs, all the verbs that means communicating, and then you're going to open it to nouns, for example, communication, discussions, a chat. These are not verbs because they're not doing words, they're just nouns, but they all the same synonyms in communication. And then adjectives, okay? Talkative is an adjective that is linked to communication. Someone is talkative is someone who's talking a lot. Communicative is like the number 1 synonym you can use for that adjective. Even adverbs, probably. Communicatively, I don't know, maybe you can use that. It's like, I have the feeling in English whenever you just put an ly at the end, it just makes an adverb. Maybe that's just me. But there you are, okay? The important is that once you've done your vocab tree for the same type of verbs, you open it, you extend it, and you just have a tree with different branches for each little concept. So here, communication, you have your trunk, you have all your verbs, all your nouns, all your adjectives, all your adverbs. It just becomes a full tree for each concept. At the end of your GCSE, guys, you just have a forest in your brain. Okay, that's how I want you to think about it, a forest. So I take another example, the concept of singing, for example. Where you have the nouns, a song in French, un chant, adjectives, chantant, singing, a singing bird, a verb, chanter, to sing. Then the synonym of a verb is fredonner, which means to hum. It's like the opportunities are endless. So just every time you have 5 minutes in your shower, when you're in the bus or whatever, just think about it. Try to create a little tree in your brain with a different context, a different concept, sorry. And that's basically how you're going to expand your vocab, not just by learning words, word for word in your Quizlet, although that is useful as well, but making sure that you are linking all the words together. And I'm just going to let you do page 13 now that I've talked about opening up to different type of nouns, sorry, not nouns, words. And I catch you up after page 13. See you soon. There we are. Okay, now number 3 and last page of this exercise is using the context. Sometimes you will have learned your synonyms, you will know the type of the verbs, you will be able to recognize whether they're a verb, an adjective, or a noun, and you still won't be able to understand it because it's not a word that you've seen before. And that is why you're going to use the context. So I'm sure I talked to you earlier, some of you at least, about when I was your age and I used to read Twilight and in English, because my teacher told me that I should be reading in English to try and improve my English. And so I fell on the word truck, and I didn't know what the word truck was, and I was just too lazy to go to the dictionary. We didn't have internet on our phones at the time. You just had to, log on your computer, turn it off, turn it on, and everything. It was these big computers anyway. And to find a word, it was either this or the dictionary, and I was just too lazy to do either of them. So I just carried on reading, thinking I might understand one day what the word truck means. And it's just one word. And then it came back and back and again and again and again and again. And at some point, I think it's on this scene where she's almost crushed by a truck and she's in the car park of the high school. If you girls or guys have seen Twilight or read Twilight, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, she's on that car park. She's about to get crushed. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, it's actually a vehicle. Wait a minute, a truck is a vehicle. And then I just had a massive, explosion or eureka moment in my mind. So the context is very important, because all this time it was out of context. And that time it was in the car park, there were cars, it was massive, it was about to crush her. So it was not just a little mini, clearly it was a truck. So that's why I realized it. So the context is really, really important. I'm not just saying that story for this. So try to use, headings, title, pictures sometimes are going to help you. Think about your role play, your photo card, sorry. If the photo card is about people playing tennis, we're talking about hobbies, okay? We're talking about the theme 1. So we're not talking about your career or about the environment. So the question is never going to be about this. So think about the context, make an educated guess. If you don't know a word in the following questions, it's highly likely it's going to be about sports, about hobbies. So that's really the kind of work you have to do. Think about the context. So thinking about the word ver, for example, in French. So V-E-R, just this pronounced V-E-R. Written differently, it means a lot of different things, but with pronunciation, it's the same pronunciation for all these verbs, but it's written differently and it means different things. It can mean a worm, a glass, or the color green. And it depends on the context. So here, how do French people do it? Well, we'll do it with the context. If you're talking about drinking, it's unlikely going to be a worm. Okay, so that's the type of thinking that you need to do on the spot. And I know in listening it is hard, but the more you do it, the more you train your brain, the faster it will get. And I can promise this because I've been learning a language since I'm 12 now, okay? And I'm quite happy with how it turned up. So just believe me, with practice, it will come up. So the more you do it, the faster it will come. And you'll end up doing all this thought process in your mind, in your listening, in a split second. And that's what you want. So I'll let you do page 14 now that I've talked way too much. And once you've done this, we're going to go straight away on the U-turn. So exam question here, you just answer the question like they say. So just follow your turn. I'm very impatient to see this. This is the only thing I want to see, okay? So if you want to submit your work, just submit the exam style question on the your turn 1 and on the your turn 2, which is page, let me check, 16. Is it 16? Yes, it's 16. Okay, so just submit your exam style question and I can't wait to see your submission, guys.